For a long time, if you went to the library in Wilmington, North Carolina, there was one thing you weren't allowed to research.
We were refused. We were rejected by the librarian.
When I asked about or inquired about 1898, they wanted to know why.
I was told that yes, they had something, but they kept it under lock and key.
The story of Wilmington in 1898 still isn't widely known.
What happened here on what's now just this empty patch of grass would radically change racial politics in North Carolina.
This is the story of an American election, but also of something we don't usually find in American history: the violent overthrow of a democratically elected government. In the late 1800s, Wilmington, North Carolina was the state's largest city. It had a majority black population, and historians today describe it as a rarity in the post-Civil War American South.
Wilmington, prior to November 1898, was what the New South could be at the cusp of the 20th century.
There was an unusual degree of black prosperity.
In Wilmington, there were successful black entrepreneurs, doctors, teachers, but also black elected officials. And for a time, that was true throughout the state. Take a look at the politicians on this poster of the 1889 North Carolina House of Representatives. Here at the bottom are black Republican representatives, some from Wilmington. North Carolina also sent 4 black Republicans to the U.S. Congress between 1875 and 1899. The Democratic and Republican parties of 1898 in many ways occupied opposite parts of the political spectrum than they do today.
Most African Americans were voting for the Republican Party, and the Democratic Party was white voters almost exclusively. White supremacy was the central focus of the platform for the Democratic Party.
Republicans in North Carolina were successful in part because of a third party called the Populist Party, made up of mostly white farmers fed up with the tough economic times. North Carolina populists joined up with Republicans to form what they called the Fusion Party. And in the elections of 1894 and 1896, the Fusion Party defeated the Democrats in sweeping victories statewide. That meant North Carolina now had a government that shared power between black and white politicians, including a newly elected Republican governor. Together, they moved towards reforms that would favor black Americans and working-class whites.
This was something that the Democratic Party folks were simply not going to accept.
A multiracial government wasn't just a disappointment for Democrats. It was more like a humiliation. They needed a plan to take back control of the state in the next election. So party leaders like Furnifold Simmons, future U.S. Senator, Charles Aycock, future North Carolina governor, and this man, Alfred Moore Waddell, came up with one: to beat the Fusion Party by luring white populist voters away from their alliance with black voters. Wilmington, with a large black population and a local fusion government in power, would be a focus of their campaign. The State Democratic Party Handbook for 1898.
Shalom. First thing and foremost, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor as due to Yahweh, by Hashem, and Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakakwadash. I'm allowed to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect, Noah's in his gospel abroad, lifting up the standard of Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is just a quick lesson through the Spirit. This is a video that was posted by the elder brother out there in Vegas. It says, just a reminder, these events all happen after Juneteenth. Okay, now when you do the history on Juneteenth, which is unfortunately today, they basically made this a national holiday when you have days off work, and they commemorating the alleged victory of your, or they're commemorating the victory of you being so-called emancipated or so-called liberated. But emancipation does not mean free. It just means to transfer from one owner to the next. So Jake is out here screaming Juneteenth, Juneteenth, but yet your black ass is still under the so-called white man. And as we just read, or as we just listened to a couple of minutes of this video, which I'm gonna watch the whole thing, but notice, and I've always said it, and brothers have taught on, is that the Democratic Party was not always for you Jakes, which they're not for you Jakes now. Okay, you had the Fusion Party, you had the Republicans, which was mainly Jakes, and then you had the Democrats, which were Edomites, okay, because Democrat goes into so-called people's rule or democracy. Then you had the Republicans, and you had the Fusion parties, which basically they benefited Jake citizens and working class Edomites, and they voted on the polls together to keep things more prosperous in their societies. Okay, as you know, Tulsa, Oklahoma, you had Red Dawn and these various movements among Jake that was living wealthy and owning banks and so forth. But as we can see, that the Democrats never had Jake's best interest, even to this day, because it's the same political party bullshit, just reversed. But nowadays, the Democrats act like they have your best interest as far as giving you particular subsidies for you to further destroy yourself. Okay, only thing the Democrats do is give you the rope to hang yourself. They give you the rope, you put it around your own neck and you hang it. The Republicans will put it on your neck and draw it and hang you. They'll do it for you. Versus the Democrats, they have you to self-incriminate, which is basically same party, different sides of the coin, same coin. But what Jake is going to realize sooner than later is that this society, this government, this man has never been for you. Okay? And looking up Juneteenth, right? Because it's a joke. Just a fucking joke, man. Okay? It says the historical legacy of Juneteenth. Juneteenth is often an overlooked event in our nation's history. On June 19th, 1865, Union troops freed enslaved African Americans, which Jake was never free, in Galveston Bay and across Texas, some 2.5 years after President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, which means to transfer. And believe it or not, Abraham Lincoln, he had slaves as well. Okay. Juneteenth, the complicated history, significance, and celebration around. Clicking on here. Dating back to 1865, Juneteenth commemorates the day when 250,000 slaves in Texas, in the state of Texas, which became the last bastion for slavery during the final days of the Civil War, were declared free by the U.S. Army. Since when the Army couldn't declare somebody's freedom? Because for one thing, you had the Civil War, and you had the, between the North and South, because I believe the South believed in free slave labor. And then you had the North that was like, well, look, man, if we can set up corporations and have slaves to work for free and join the military, it's the same thing, but it's more on a corporate scale, or more of a, like, how like today you have a job, right? It's still slavery, versus you go to jail, under what is the 13th or 14th Amendment, you go to jail and basically you surrender your rights to be in bondage. So therefore, free slave labor, like in certain parts of the country, you go to prison, like in Life, they showed you, that was basically fucking chattel slavery, man. They out picking cotton, chopping bricks, man, working on a railroad. That's slavery. And that's pretty much the prison system today. Versus you got a job and you go to a corporation every morning, 9 to 5. Yeah, you may be getting a wage for it and you may appear to have some type of leeway with benefits. But it's the same dirty ass game because you're paying taxes. You have to show up. And if you don't work, you don't pay taxes, then they can lock you up. And also you could become homeless and you're just another casualty. Same thing when you're in prison. Hey, they pay for you to be in there every month. They pay for your meals, the water, they pay for the inmates. So it's the same goddamn thing. But it says Juneteenth have become the most well-known celebration for the ending of slavery, which slavery never ended, in the United States, and viewed by some as America's second Independence Day. But the history of this important celebration is complex and often misunderstood. Okay, which you was so-called free, you would have reparations and you don't. Okay, they shutting that shit down. All right. But anyway, let's get a couple of precepts here. Because we are in straight captivity, man. And when we go to the book of Baruch 4 really brings it here. This is the book of Baruch 3. And I'm going to start at, verses 8 is the point. But let's start at 8. It says, behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments. Okay, so there's a corporation right there. Captivity means slavery. Subject to payments. You go to work, you got to pay bills, you got to pay light, gas, child support, taxes. This is a system that we can't get from under. It's the pit. It's called a pit, you know? And when you think of a pit, you're thinking of something that you can never fully escape. But it says, for we have called to mind all the, no, Salaki, it says, for as a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. But it says here, we are in captivity as to this day. Okay? So right here, this day and age, we're still in slavery. You got a social security number, on bank accounts with anybody's. You got to have somebody's permission to get your money out of their institution. That shows you that you're a slave. Okay? Because honestly speaking, you should have your own individual treasury, something that you put to pay yourself. Put your money in your own account, and you could take how much or put how much in there you want without being penalized, man. Same thing with a 401k. Same thing. You know, but Jake don't see it that way because they have the ability to go out and get the debt note, which is a fiat currency. You know, let's go from here to the book of Deuteronomy, 28th chapter. And this whole chapter is really good. But let's start at verse 6. Yep, let's start at verses 48. It says, therefore thou shalt serve thy enemies, which the Lord Yahweh shall send against thee in hunger and thirst and nakedness and want of all things. Okay, you want to go to the supermarkets or the grocery stores, you want to buy a vehicle, you want to get your driver's license, you need a job. Guess who you got to go to? You got to go to Esau, you know, to get your clothes, to get your children's teeth cleaned, to sign your kids up for school. You got to go through Esau, Edom. You see? You can't go through yourself because you're not sovereign. You want an apartment, go through Esau. You want a house, Esau. A loan, Esau. A car, Esau. You know what I'm saying? Food, Esau. Shit, you want a woman, behave as Esau. You know? But it says, because thou servest not the Lord thy power of joy. Matter of fact, let's start at verses 45. It says, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed. And Jake, we're neck deep in curses. This is why you have a lot of black on black crime, a lot of Hispanic on Hispanic crime, black on Hispanic crime, child support, broken homes, failing marriages, okay, being derelict, being bums on the streets, diseases, first fired, last hired. You are totally shut out of the wealth gap, you know, the wealth. So you have no type of place in society, man. And that's all done by design. Like the curses are basically that's through the spirit played out in physical matters. Like the Lord set up the curses to play out in a physical matter. Okay, just stop Jake from getting resources that they need, which plays into the curses. Okay, and this little thing we call life. But it says, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahweh thy power to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee, and they should be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. Because thou servest not the Lord thy power with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things. Therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which Yahweh shall send against thee, in hunger and thirst and nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Okay, now let's go here. Look up yoke of iron. Sambo niggas. Look at this. The white man ain't beating that ass no more. Esau's still beating your ass. This is the same goddamn cracker he was 200 years ago. These are the same damn devils. Okay, it says that his anger, he has a perpetual hatred. Okay, perpetual perpetual hatred means an everlasting hatred. See? Yoke of iron right here. Now, a lot of these pictures they try to get off the internet and try to delete off the internet, but they keep resurfacing. But this is the yoke of iron. And this has only happened to our people. See? The Israelite man. go here. Biblical prophecy. The Lord said this will happen to us. And it says here, I will put a yoke of iron upon thy neck till ye have destroyed thee. And the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, and from the ends of the earth as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Yeah, because remember, we were speaking Hebrew, we came over here. We got this language beat into us. And it says, a nation of fierce countenance, which should not regard the person of the old, nor show favor unto the young. Yeah, because they killed children. They use babies as alligator bait. Israelite babies at that. You know, they show no favor. They raped our women, raped the men, buck breaking. And they're still spiritually, and they're still breaking Jake to this day. Like a lot of Jakes that go to the NBA or the NFL or in these corporations, they got a buck break your ass, man. You know, that's what they do. Let's look up this guy, Willie Lynch. This devil. We got William F. Lynch and William A. Lynch. Either way it go, still a goddamn devil. Willie Lynch. The making of a slave. William F. Lynch. These devils got to get taken down, man. Point blank period. They got to go. William F. Lynch. Let's see if this is the same guy. Naval officer. May not be the same dude. After Civil War. Let's see something here. Willie Lynch. Okay, cool beans. Yeah, this is the one we're looking for. So, yep, that's pretty much what it is. Let's go to the book of Psalms 83 and start at verses 1 because it's still a war out on our people. And Jacob is just too oblivious to see it. So it says, for lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head, and they have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones, and have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. And how do they do that? By taking our heritage, our names, okay, our language, our culture, and giving it to a people that's not even considered a people. It says, for they have consulted together with one consent. They are the confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom, which is this white man, the Ishmaelites, the Moab, Hagarenes, Gabal, Ammon, and Amalek. They mentioned Esau twice. The Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Assur also joined with them, and they have hope in the children of Lot. So it's the point I wanted to make, man. You know, we're still in captivity to this present day. All right, the Lord has not freed us from our captivity, but we are on the verge of being let